Hey there, fellows. Alright, so our attempts at making our own pistons have been pretty interesting. We made 4 out of aluminum, and we noticed that a lot of people... Well, it wasn't just aluminum, we've tried various materials, even wood. And we got a bunch of comments with people asking we try copper. I have a piece right here. We did try to cast something a while back. Anyway, so copper pistons. Judging by how much this piece weighs, it should be pretty interesting. And we also have some brass. It's also a nice material, and the idea is to try hitting, what is it, 2 or 3 birds with one stone? So fit the aluminum piston, make one out of copper, out of brass, and also make a bronze one. We assemble an engine on those, start it, and see how it operates. Let's do this. We make copper, brass, bronze pistons, what will happen? Translation and voiceover by BMI Russian. Okay, so we've melted the brass and the bronze. It took a while to melt these. And now we're gonna do the copper. Okay guys, here's where we're at with those. We've made these blanks. Just like last time, we cast them in special cups. And now we'll be making 3 pistons. Yeah, the 4th one is gonna be stock. So we got copper, bronze, and brass. So we're gonna test all 3 materials and see how they behave. And already I can tell that... We'll weigh them when they're done. But you can tell that there is a marked difference. Right, let's fire up the lathe and commence the machining. Let's go. Check this out, guys. The pistons are done. Let's put them onto a scale. Here's an aluminum piston we made some time ago. And we are looking at about 465 grams. So that's how much the custom aluminum piston weighs. Now we did do some additional machining in the process of making these, cutting off excess material, so there might be some discrepancy. Though I don't think it'll be a lot. I expect most of the difference to be down to the weight of each material. And let's continue. If the aluminum was 460, then this weighs 1,290. Incredible. That's like a difference of 2-fold. So that's the brass. Now let's check the bronze. Okay, so that's 1,390... Let's call it 1,395 for good measure. Or whatever, 1,394. That's almost 1.5 kilos. That is very heavy. So that's the bronze. Now the copper. Wait a second, isn't copper a denser material? Yeah, right. Let's see how much it weighs. And there's your 1.5 kilos. 1,489 grams to be exact. Just 11 grams below 1.5 kilos. So the difference is quite staggering. These two pistons are 1 kilo apart in weight. And nothing to worry about there. And now that they're all ready, let's attach some rods, fit some rings. But before we do that, there's one more thing I'd like to point out. You'll recall that aluminum expanded quite a bit. I expect these materials to expand as well. And so we've decided to make these ever so slightly... They're just a hair slimmer than they're supposed to be. So the current clearance is about the same as if we were running quality forged pistons out of a low silicon content alloy. What is it, like maybe about 1.1? And I reckon they should work all right with that sort of fitment. We'll of course find out if that's the case after we throw everything together. Yeah, let's do just that and commence the testing. It should be operational. We do need to keep track of everything somehow. Let her rip. Yeah, this happens sometimes. What can you do? What a racket! But it does work, that's all good. But that is one hell of a racket. Yeah, that is nasty. I need a spanner. Let me just go ahead and secure the distributor. Though of course there won't be any knocking with a 1.5 kilo piston. Go ahead, start it. Okay, so it works, and yeah, it is vibrating quite a bit. Which I guess is acceptable. I mean, a lot of engines aren't the most stable ones out there. But the knock? That is something. But with a piston that weighs 1.5 kilos, are you that surprised? Hey, at least it started with no issue. That is good. Wait, it needs to be warmed up. You can't just drive it straight away. But now that we got it to run, switch it off. It is super loud, and that knock is just horrendous. But it starts, that is good, and so let's see how the car drives. Those are some heavy pistons for you. We'll take it slowly, allow the engine to warm up. That sounds like rod knock, but we'll allow it to warm up some more. It's only starting to. It's not happy to rev, is it? Well, it is having a hard time. I mean, 1,200 grams, 1,300 grams, 1.5 kilos. So 3 pistons with a total weight of 3 kilos, 4? 4 and another half a kilo for the aluminum one. or 4.5. So the pistons alone weigh 4.5 kilos. Of course it's having a hard time. It is becoming happier as it warms up. And the knock is going away. Okay, so enough warming it up. It is warm enough. The temperature gauge reading is about where it needs to be. Let's go for a drive. It is not perfect by any means. Far from it. But we all understand why. But it drives, funnily enough. What was that? The engine is really having a rough time. It is dealing with some heavy pistons. And it has to propel the car. Not an easy task. Like, it is struggling. Heat coming into the cabin. That's a sign of it being nice and warm. Yeah, it does not want to rev. Yo, Sergey. Grab a 13mm spanner, will ya? Yeah, that's a bit much. Dial it back, perhaps? It is quick to slow down. That's for sure. And it's not quick to rev. This is full throttle. That's red line? That is red line at about maybe $5,000? Oh, it cleared its throat. Let's do a burnout. I'm gonna try a hard launch, get out of the way. It's not gonna let me. Well, it does have some pull. But then this is all good and well. But this isn't how a Lada is supposed to drive. But harsh as it may be, it seems to be reliable. It is able to build revs. That's odd, even the belt isn't coming off. Come on, give it some more. There's some serious vibration occurring. And that's resulting in stuff getting shaken off. Very durable indeed. What's the matter? A plug fell out. What plug? There was a plug in there. It is an older head design with a breather in the front, which was plugged with a bolt. Where is it? I see it. A lot of dirt has fallen off. What's up? What's going on? Yeah, why won't it turn over? There's your answer. Oh, wow. So that was caused by the vibration. So while I was at full throttle, the starter motor came loose. No big deal. This sort of thing isn't supposed to happen, but it did. Still, the engine is able to run. Shall we reconnect the starter motor? Let's push it back and see what's underneath. Okay. Oh, it sort of cleaned itself. Oh, sweet. Okay, so the car has cleaned its aura of any filth. And these 3 lovely bolts. Okay, let's reconnect the starter motor and keep hammering. At the very least, this isn't seizing. That's enough. Look at that breather. It has begun to throw oil, yeah. Okay, so here's the situation. Even at full throttle, the engine is still able to run. Nothing is getting sheared off. There's not much drama. Though the breather tube was spewing oil and it has made quite a mess. Everything was all right initially, but something must have broken in there. And the knock has become louder. And quite a bit louder as well. So let's go ahead and shut this off. While it runs, it isn't quite at the point of saying farewell. So now let's clean it, take it apart, and examine the pistons. Let's carry on. Okay guys, we have cracked the engine open. Let's have a look at the cylinders. So the cylinders, what's there to say? They're right about where they were before. The rub marks that were there before we assembled everything are still present, so no fundamental changes there. The iron is still in okay shape. All of that is good, no scoring. And now let's have a look at the pistons. Here's the aluminum one, which we machined to reduce the diameter because, well, we knew going in that these custom pistons are going to need a bit of extra clearance, as we didn't know how this particular alloy is going to expand, and so yeah, we took just a tiny bit of material off this piston. It was a small amount, and just like before, the metal has been deformed to the point where the rings have seized and are no longer moving. Also, there's this. The hole for the pin is now elliptical, and the pin is moving around. Okay, now let's grab the brass. How did the brass do? Oh, wow. This is actually pretty good. This held up very well indeed. I mean, yeah, the pin does slide freely, but I don't feel any sort of play. Now let's see the bronze. The pin also slides freely, and yeah, there is a bit of play. Yep, this is moving around. That's peculiar. Brass is supposed to have higher viscosity. Bronze is harder, but bronze is what developed a wobble. The piston pin is wobbling around inside the hole, in the piston, and quite substantially. And now the most interesting part. Oh, wow, even lifting it. This sumbitch heavy. We had a lot of folks saying we should try copper pistons, and what's up with this one? It looks just fine. You can see evidence of rubbing, but once again, we did make these somewhat undersized to avoid them getting deformed like the aluminum. The copper isn't deformed whatsoever. The rings are free to move, but it is heavy. It did its job like it was supposed to, with no... Here's what's curious. Immediately you can tell how each of the pistons transferred heat. There's a lot of carbon on the brass, a bit less on the bronze, and almost none on the copper. There's some on the aluminum. The copper took a while to get warm. It was quick to release heat, and so it barely got hot at all. Oh yeah, this is nasty. So apparently the main cause of the knock was first the pistons being undersized, then once the engine got warm, the knock disappeared, only to reappear once we gave the engine a good thrash. The knock was even louder, and was caused by the piston pins. With the copper, it's wobbling like crazy. But then it weighs a lot, and copper is soft, so no surprise that it's this way. Yeah, this is very bad. But if this were the factory piston, I reckon it would have been torn off, and a rod would have smashed the block. And so there you have it. Now here's what I like about the whole thing. The engine. Despite some people saying that Lada motors are constantly breaking, that might be true, but look at this durability. Not a single bent rod, the crankshaft is intact, the rods, everything is looking very good indeed. And that tells us what? That it was built to cope with severe stress. Way more severe than it can actually exert. But the durability is there. At the end of the day, the worst specimen was the aluminum piston that we made in our melting pot. But then, I mean, who knows what kind of alloy that was? We did use drink cans after all. And so there you go. Here you got a living example of... You got 4 pistons, 4 different types of material, and immediately we get an idea as to how they all perform. Okay, well, you wanted this, we made it happen, and the copper piston is super heavy. I mean, 1.5 kilos is a lot for just one piston. You saw it all for yourselves, and that's all I got for you. Watch us, subscribe, send in your suggestions, comment, give us a big thumbs up. Okay, well, that does it for this video. Catch you guys later.